What's up, guys? Got a new review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the SOG Vulcan, the VL01. Let me do some quick size comparisons while I tell you guys the specs. Here's a Tenacious, and here's a Victorinox Spartan. Alright, so this knife has a 3.5 inch blade of VG10, 0.16 inches thick, 8.375 inches overall, 5.0 ounces is the weight. The Rockwell hardness of the VG10 is 59 to 60, and the handle material is a GRN, which is basically FRN. GRN stands for glass reinforced nylon. So let's get on to the knife. I've had this knife for a little bit. I haven't done too much cutting with it, but I have enough of an impression to give you guys my thoughts on it. Let's start with the blade. We have a 3.5 inch blade of VG10. Good steel. Everybody loves it. You often see it on Spyderco's, but SOG is another company that uses it a lot. Because it is VG10, it is made in Seki City, Japan, which you can see here on the tang. The blade is a sort of recurve, not quite a recurve, but a very big-bellied clip point. You got a nice swedge up here that makes the blade a little thinner. It's actually a very thick blade steel. 0.16 is actually pretty significant, considering the grind doesn't start till about half spine. The grind is a hollow grind, so at least it does serve to thin out the blade. You can see here compared to a Spyderco Tenacious, and you can see that the blade on the SOG Vulcan is significantly thicker. The finish on this SOG Vulcan here is a very nice satin finish. It's sort of like a brushed satin with vertical striations or kind of look there. You can see the SOG etching over here. There's these little vents in the blade that's purely a design or aesthetic deal. If you can look at the blade, it's a very nice utility shape. As far as how it performs when cutting, it's perfectly fine. The relief edge is very shallow though, so it's gonna get kind of hard to get sharp. But with VG10, it'll stay sharp for a decent amount of time. And look, I accidentally nicked myself with the Tenacious while closing it. But with this blade, I mean 3.5 inches is enough for most EDC tasks and can flex into something of a defense role, even though I never think knives are really good for that. But as far as the blade goes, very impressive. I really like the blade shape. The steel choice is good. The only thing is it's a bit of a thick grind. Let's go on to the handle. You have a handle of GRN, fiberglass reinforced nylon. It's actually pretty thick. It's not super thick because they have managed to sort of thin it out here and here to make sort of these palm swells in the middle to make it a little more ergonomic when you're holding it. But even compared to the Tenacious, you can see that there's a pretty significant thickness difference. Yeah, it's a pretty thick knife. However, it doesn't get to the point where I think it's, really absurd. It's actually a relatively decent thickness. It's not anything too out of the ordinary or too much overkill. The handle texture is this interesting sort of pointed grip. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It does add a little bit of tack. It's more efficient than something like the Wenger Ranger I just reviewed yesterday, but it's also not super great. Handle ergonomics could be improved on. I feel like there's no one good way to hold this knife. If I hold it back here, I can put my thumb either back here or on this very small thumb indent. It's not really a thumb ramp, it's a thumb indent. And then you have to put your hand like that. I find I can't really choke up all the way to the front of the knife because then my third finger pushes against this bump. I have to have my second finger back here. So it's kind of an awkward position to hold it. You can kind of hold it like this and try to jam your two fingers into this first groove and put your thumb up here, but it's not really comfortable when cutting. So I think they could improve on handle ergonomics. The lock on this guy is a arc lock, which SOG says works up to 1,000 pounds. I highly doubt that. As with a lot of SOGs, this one has a lot of play. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's significant left to right play. and there's actually quite a bit up and down play too. I've never been a huge stickler for really seeing play. I don't really care too much if there's play in a knife. I don't really think that there's a lot of factors that go into why that happens, and even quality knives will a lot of times have it. But for some reason on this one, I just can't get over it. I just feel like it's not that strong. But maybe that's just my own opinion. As for opening and closing, it's very fast and very smooth. The thumb here on the thumb stud is very fast. It's ambidextrous. This isn't a fully ambidextrous lock, so that's always a good thing. You can use the flipper too. You have to really train and get used to it. I find that a slight wrist flick helps. I can get it with just my index finger, but for the first few days I had it, I can't even get it now consistently. But the first day I had it, I was playing around with it a lot, and I found that it didn't open too easily with the flipper unless you use your wrist. At the end of the knife is this interesting metal cover thing. It says SOG. SOG is known for writing SOG all over their knives. And I think it's like a blade tip guard, but I'd rather they just cover that with the GRN too. But if you see when the knife is closed, I can actually put my finger here, and I can touch the tip, and I can actually pull the blade out. So this could be a little dangerous in the pocket with a tip-up carry. I can see you poking your finger on this knife or even getting it open, especially because the handle retention isn't really that good. You can see here, once I bring it back past maybe this point, the blade will actually fall by gravity. So that might be a slight safety issue. If we go on to the clip, you have the standard SOG fold-over clip. I really like this style of clip. It helps you carry your knife very deep. So there's nothing really too wrong with the clip, except for the fact that with the retention it might be a little dangerous. There's these interesting triangle cutouts. I don't really know what that's for. That's probably an aesthetic thing. Tension is fine on this clip. Overall, I have to say the SOG Vulcan is a very fun knife to play with and to handle, but I'm not sure how well it would stand up to hard use. I haven't had to put it through its full paces, but I really don't advise it if you're really looking for a heavy-duty work knife. Also, it's not very cheap. I think these things go for about $100 on average. I got mine significantly cheaper, second-hand though. But they go for about $100 or maybe $90, and for that money, I think there's better. If you can get it for about $70 or $60, I do think it's well worth the money because of the steel. For an EDC blade, it wouldn't be too bad. However, it's not a knife I'd really, depend on for my life. Not that kind of blade. Hope you guys enjoyed my review of the SOG Vulcan. It's definitely a very cool knife, a very good fondling knife. But there's just some caveats and some things that aren't perfect about the knife. So keep those in mind. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. I really love doing these reviews. And I'll actually be leaving soon. I'm going to California to start school in about 3 weeks. So I'll try to cram as many videos into that time as I can. And yeah, I'll see you later. Peace.